You'll hear it over and over again. Games are too expensive to make. We need to make the game as big as possible to ensure that there's enough content to justify people wanting to buy in day one for our new AAA video game. What usually happens when this becomes the norm is you end up with bloated games that are endlessly long with camps to clear all over, trinkets to discover, and quests that are some variation of find me the thing by doing this other thing. Ad nauseum, this repeats endlessly, until eventually once you beat one of these massive games, if someone were to then place a gun to your head and say, go, tell me 10 side quests you just did in this game, or tell me what you remember from what the NPCs actually said to you, your mind will probably go blank. It's so endless. You don't remember anything you just did because it's bloated, it's too large, and full of things that you suddenly realize they don't actually matter. Not all open world games are like this, I know. The Witcher 3 is uniquely a game that married both concepts and still hasn't been beaten to this day if you ask me. But when I ask you about a smaller game, more compact, more streamlined, like let's say Resident Evil, you are suddenly able to recite multiple moments from that series with pinpoint accuracy. The zombie dog flying through the window, the turn of the very first zombie in the original game, when El Gigante attacked you in Resident Evil 4, that opening scene of Resident Evil 5 where those crazed villagers are swarming you as you blockade the doors and shoot them through the windows. You remember the boss fights, the twists, the level design even. You can mentally map out probably even the small Spanish village that Leon ran through to save the president's daughter in that game that everybody loves. You remember what it was like to reach that prison island for the first time. I do. Those regenerators are terrifying, dude. You remember things because they were meaningful. They weren't endlessly bloated and filled to the brim with nothing content. A gray sludge of things to do that really don't matter. Instead, Resident Evil and the games that it has also inspired, which is too many to list, let's be real, has been a master of cutting through that bloat to then offer you an experience that can not only be beaten quickly, but you remember them. Every Resident Evil game can be beat in under 3 hours or so, some even less than that. Yet players across the world who say that some games are too small to justify their prices are suddenly totally fine shelling out full price for Resident Evil. Why? It's simple. The games are quality. Sure, yes, Resident Evil 4 is not the size of Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla, but it also has more heart. It has far more meaningful moments. It has boss battles you actually remember, NPCs where you remember what they said to you, lines that live with you. You remember these things because a game like Resident Evil is not bloated, it's not endless, it's instead quality. And that should be the golden standard of what we expected from the video games industry. As you likely know, Resident Evil 9 is almost upon us. Like, hell yes, dude, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to play as Leon. And yes, even Grace too, to see what exactly Capcom has cooked up this time for their fans. On my channel recently, I played through Resident Evil 7 and Village on stream, had a blast doing it too. Village especially got me really hyped because I loved getting the new guns, fighting all the weird monsters, and descending into the madness again. But Resident Evil 9, it looks really special. It looks like it could be one of the best games in the series. Currently, as of this video being made, Resident Evil 9 has an 88 on Metacritic, and that's really high. It's awesome to see too. There hasn't been a single bad review for the game, no mention of anything stupid or controversial. It just looks like another slam dunk for Capcom that's going to continue to prove that, yeah, they're still in their A game of releasing absolute bangers year over year. I love Resident Evil. I wish I was better at them. I wish I was able to 100% them by beating them in 2 hours or something else. Yeah, I know. I just need to apply myself to do it. I get it. But when you cover games for a living, there's a lot of games I have to play to stay up to date. Is that my excuse for not 100%ing a Resident Evil game? Probably, I'll be honest, but hopefully one day I can apply myself and then thoroughly go through every game in the series and 100% them in due time. But regardless, I still love playing those games. There's something about going down a dark hallway with your gun drawn and something that looks vaguely human turning around the corner that never gets boring to me, no matter how many times that it happens. As Games Radar said here, Resi 9 is the best reviewed game besides Resi 4 and its remake, which doesn't really surprise me. Leon Kennedy is kind of the golden poster boy of the series, and the fact that Capcom confirmed that Leon was playable, yeah, that kind of made everyone's hype meters go from oh yeah to absolutely hell yes in a millisecond flat, and I can't blame them either. The best games in the series star Leon, well, in my opinion, besides Resident Evil 6, but that game is, well, Resident Evil 6 is definitely a game that exists alright. Actually, if I gotta be real, Resident Evil 6 was kind of the best possible thing that could have happened to Capcom's franchise when it did, because they started to enter that nonsensical Western way of making games that is plaguing everything to this day still. They tried to become Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed in their appeal. They made it too broad, which ended up losing what made them special. It was due to the failure from a critical and fan reception of Resident Evil 6 that then led to the renaissance of what Resident Evil has become these days. Like, I'm so excited for Resident Evil 9, man. Nothing makes me more happy than knowing that these games just keep getting made. And that on top of that, they're also not 100 hours long, but instead maybe 10 at best. But the point of this video is really to convey how the Western games industry kind of feels disinterested in what Resident Evil as a series defines, and how they keep betraying themselves and the fans by not delivering what we want. Every company wants their Fortnite, their live service game, right? The golden goose. They keep chasing the unicorn, thinking that they'll be the next Arc Raiders, only to end up as the next Concord instead. Like, have you seen Highguard's Steam charts lately? As of this video being made, we're 30 days into Highguard being available. It's a whole month. And look right here. Look at its player numbers. Bad doesn't even begin to describe the situation surrounding Highguard right now. Yet objectively, in the future, we're likely going to see more games try to replicate and fail like Highguard has, than companies replicating what actually works and what people want to see more of, like Resident Evil 9 or 4 or 7 or Village. Any of them. Pick your poison, it tracks. What I loathe about the direction of games lately is they, as in publishers, seem very disinterested in exploring the replayable game structure of smaller games. Stuff like Hades, Moonlighter, and more, Resident Evil as well. These games that you don't replay them because you feel obligated to, but because you need to sign in to do your dailies or something, or chase this new cosmetic bundle or this new event that got added. No, you play these games because they're fun. Because the act of playing them, that brings you joy. We need more of that. Even if that joy is shooting a mutated freak in the face with a shotgun, hey, it still works either way if you ask me, and I love every single time I do it. Honestly, nothing brings me more joy in a video game than gunning down monsters with a fully automatic weapon. Because you know that with every pull of that trigger, you're making the world a better place because there's less zombies or werewolves in Village or whatever else Umbrella's cooking in their weirdo seminars. I genuinely think, unironically, there's an Umbrella group chat in that game's universe where there's like 5 Umbrella evil scientists just like messaging each other photos of the latest freaks they built at work today to the other scientists to one-up each other. Like, look at me, I spliced a frog with a human and a rhino, and then one of the scientists are like, dude, I did that last week. I just made a fish with bat wings and human legs. Like real evil scientist stuff, you know what I mean? I don't know. I would hate living in that world like in real life, but as a game, oh, give me more, please. The point of the matter is that in case you haven't noticed, there are zero controversies surrounding Resident Evil 9 at all. Well, as of this video being released anyways. There's no developers hating on their fans on social media, no holier-than-thou tweets trying to virtue signal or whatnot else. What I love about Resident Evil is that Capcom knows that the best way to promote your game is just to let it speak for itself. Like this review from Eurogamer, which calls Resi 9 legendary horror at an all-time high. Like, yes, please, inject that right into my forehead, thank you very much. For example, this one paragraph here, as you can see, that just states that the game starts out as a cinematic police procedural, has 0 bugs, and the gameplay and performance is polished to a shine, and that every single department at Capcom is firing on all cylinders. Like, yeah, fellas, we are so back. I can't wait. I think we actually have a Game of the Year contender on our hands already, and I love to see that. But look, this is what I mean. The industry thinks that we want 50 Highguards, when I would trade every single live service game in existence right now for a few Resident Evils in a heartbeat. Just because a game is long doesn't mean that it's going to be fun to play. Sometimes it works out, but not always. What I love about Capcom's flagship series is they know that Resident Evil, like as a brand, has a lot of weight behind it. And they have finally realized over these past few years with stellar game after stellar game that they don't need to adhere to or chase any sort of trends to make themselves relevant. Because in actuality, finally they maybe realized they are the ones that set their own trends. I guarantee you that whatever Resi 9 ends up being received as ultimately, it will be the new gold standard. Other games will now be sprinting to keep up with it, trying to replicate what it did so well. And this is why I love games like this, because there's those key franchises that understand that the reason they're successful is because they are the franchises that they are. Resident Evil is one of those. The Witcher is also the same thing. Dark Souls, or I guess just From Software in general, also understands this with every game they release too. You don't need to chase those trends. They just need to keep making things the way that they do it, because people will show up because they want more of the thing that only those studios can make. I don't need to seek out High Guard, because High Guard existed before High Guard even came out. It's called Overwatch, Concord, Apex, Valorant, you name it. But I can't really seek out Resident Evil now, can I? Because the only game that really invokes Resident Evil is Resident Evil. What I'm saying is that this game is kind of everything that AAA wishes that it could be these days, but can't because they're tied down by all sorts of corporate nonsense. As Shinobi on Twitter here shared recently, Resident Evil Requiem is actually sold out on every major American retailer when it comes to physical copies. And I mean, he's not lying. Like here, look at Walmart right now, as you can see. Yep, every version, no matter the platform, completely sold out. This game is flying off the shelves like toilet paper during a pandemic at this point. People are flocking to it like moths to a flame, and again, it just keeps proving my point beautifully. People want games that are a one-of-a-kind experience, something made that can only be made by certain studios in the world. Resident Evil is a premier experience. You're not going to see this sort of game getting made by any random Western studio. They're too busy trying to figure out how to make Helldivers again without turning into High Guard. Instead of realizing they shouldn't be making that sort of game in the first place. The reason why certain games sell, why certain artists even can fill stadiums with plenty of fans, is because they're one of a kind. Obviously, with Resident Evil, the people who made this game, or even the previous ones, have worked on these games for years. They are, as you would say, masters of their craft, and what a lot of games feel like these days is people are deliberately ignoring what they're good at because they want to fit themselves into something that doesn't fit them. The whole square peg in a round hole analogy, if you will, right? That's pretty much the entire Western industry for the most part right now. We're good at making single-player RPG games. Cool. Let's not do that anymore and make High Guard 3 instead. Whereas Capcom takes their team and goes, you guys are good at Resident Evil. Cool, just keep doing that. And wow, this round peg fits perfectly into a round hole. Who could have guessed that happening, right? It's almost as if you should cater to the strengths of the studios that are making games. Like, look, okay, I'll say it how it is. The gaming industry as we know it is kind of dead in a Western sense for years now. And the executives that are holding that smoking gun, they're kind of laughing all the way to the bank because they're supervillains. They aren't just pivoting everything to live service models because they like these sorts of games. No, of course not. They don't play games. They're pushing for more Helldivers and Fortnites over Resident Evil because if even one Helldivers can succeed, they're going to make millions and be happy about it. But what they don't realize is that they're also leaving corpses of plenty of studios, developers, broken games in their wake. All because they keep doing the same things, hoping that it'll work out this time. Even if it did in the last 50, this time's going to work, trust me. What it then leads to is they, as in the suits at the top, are systematically murdering the single-player campaign, if you will, or single-player game in general as a genre to satisfy the shareholder greed that couldn't care less either way. Basically, your favorite stories are being replaced by hollow husks designed solely to bleed you dry week over week, month over month. Because a lot of these people in charge, they don't want you buying a game once and that's it. Buy a game? One time? What do you think this is, the 90s? How dare you suggest such an insane business transaction? No. Instead, you're going to buy the game, you're going to pay extra for the battle passes, and if it's free to play, well, we're going to justify you buying 3 skins for the price of a new Resident Evil game at launch, and you're going to like it, or we're going to call you buzz terms. With a lot of games that are doing this now, which Resident Evil obviously goes against, is the loss of the narrative, or the very reason for why you're playing that sort of game in the first place. Think about it, right? We used to play for the story, the soul of the game, and the cinematic mastery that defined a generation of video games. Now, out-of-touch suits and, even activist developers are trading these legendary experiences for endless monetization and ideological agendas that nobody continues to ask for. For example, look at this from thegamebusiness.com. Amazon is pulling funding on an open world game, I guess, or something from industry veterans at Maverick Games. What do you mean that Amazon, the company you can buy toilet paper from and get it delivered to your house, is scaling back their investments in games like this? What, they don't have the money? Well, that can't be right now, can it? It's Amazon. Instead, the story there with Maverick Games, that's a UK-based studio, is currently they have no funding right now. The game they're making isn't dead, whatever it may be, but nobody wants to pay them to make it now. Amazon even issued a statement like, look at this. Basically, they released this Maverick Games from their contract and went, we don't want to pay for it anymore. No thanks, bye, good luck though. This is happening all over. These big companies keep promising the world, delivering nothing, and screwing everyone over. This is the industry's final betrayal, where the art of the game is being sacrificed all the time if it's unable to meet the unrealistic standards of the people at the very top who don't even play games, man. They just want money and metrics. They're ignoring what works, like a single-player franchise that people are clearly lighting up for, like Resident Evil, because instead they're too busy chasing for a permanent state of engagement-driven rot because they want to make more money, but not really. Like I said, Resi 9 is sold out already. Physically, I mean. Obviously, it can't sell out digitally. But these sorts of companies would look at Resident Evil and go, yeah, but it's only 10 hours long. How can we monetize this to hell and back and ensure that our daily active user engagements keep rising so we can put that in a presentation? Yeah, because the better alternative is to make 50 startup studios, give them some money, then slowly and surely close them all down, pull the funding, and then tax refund what you spent on them instead. Yeah, that's working out great now, isn't it, Amazon? Have you maybe considered that what people want in the end is great single-player games? That people don't want every game to be the same checklist of things over and over again? Yet even the journalists in the space, they can't wrap their heads around it. Like this article from a former Washington Post writer where this article is titled, "Not Everything is Concord, except everything kind of is like Concord these days, isn't it?" Comparing what Concord represented, which still permeates throughout the industry today, whether they want to admit it or not, and then comparing it to, say, Resident Evil is kind of the perfect litmus test of whether these people understand their audiences or not. Concord is everything Resident Evil is not. It's bloated teams, huge budgets for no real reason, inclusive character designs that alienate core audiences, all of this to chase the modern audience that doesn't exist, and you can apply that to not even Concord, but many other games like it around it. Resident Evil is kind of everything the Western games industry is not doing as much these days. Single player, tighter, smaller level design, thank God, crazy monsters, amazing intricate gameplay designs, a high skill ceiling with what you can reasonably accomplish in the game, and a model design that I'd assume will be like previous Resident Evil games where you complete feats in the game via repeated playthroughs. Not to fill a battle pass or unlock your daily V-Bucks experience boost slop token, but because if you shoot, 50 zombies in the head with this certain pistol, you'll get enough score to now unlock an infinite ammo version of this gun that you really want. And now, the gameplay itself has changed through your agency as a player actively engaging with that game to expand what you can do in the game itself. That is a great reward. That is a far more compelling reason to replay a Resident Evil game. It's like in Resident Evil 3 Remake as well. You can unlock in the shop, for example, by, killing zombies, completing the game and all of that. And then you can get an infinite ammo rocket launcher and just keep blowing Nemesis to bits, or an infinite ammo assault rifle if you want to. Or you could unlock new weapons in general to use that weren't in the base campaign. Like, that's a real reason to replay the game, to then understand its intricacies, because there's things to unlock and play with. That's what a game's about. Remember the gun, the Chicago typewriter in Resi 4? Of course you do. Awesome gun. Same reason to replay it as well too. I want you to honestly ask yourself, as a player who has played many games, how many modern Western games have you honestly replayed of your own volition? Probably not many. Some games don't let you skip cutscenes like the new God of War games. Others have dog water stories that crap on the legacy like Last of Us Part 2. But Resident Evil just bypasses every pitfall, every trap laid for this series, and walks around it, while everyone else just kind of falls face first into a pit full of spikes every time. So when some journalist says that not everything is Concord, well, you're right to a degree. The good games, the ones that actually do something unique, they aren't Concord. But the ones that chase the same sort of thing, yeah, we're going to call them Concord-likes, because it's a justifiable term to describe them in the first place. Resident Evil is not a Concord-like. It's not a Souls-like, an open-world game, nothing like that. Resident Evil is something unique in video games. It is wholly its own thing. Other games may be called a Resident Evil-like or Resi-like, however you want to quantify it, but no one will say, you know what Resident Evil reminds me of? Oh, what's that? Nothing? Because it's unique. Yeah, exactly. At this point, people can very easily discern and identify a Concord at a moment's glance. You can immediately tell when something is gonna pull a Concord. High Guard was a Concord, and we're sick of that sort of stuff. However, that problem, right? The act of making stuff that nobody wants doesn't seem to affect stuff like Resident Evil at all. Capcom could shadow drop a Resident Evil Revelations 3 right now, this very instant, and you and I both know that that game would sell even if it had no hype behind it, no trailer, nothing. Why? Because it's Resident Evil. They proved themselves time and again that that is a series worth standing up for and going to get whenever a new one drops, because they're fun to play. It just astounds me that you have these journalists and these websites, you name it, they're all bewildered and unable to understand or even articulate why the industry can't resonate with players anymore. You have places like Japan, South Korea, for example, for the most part anyways, it's like, oh, business as usual. Let me put it to you this way. Have you noticed your favorite franchises becoming unrecognizable over time? Instead becoming engagement-driven shells of their former selves over the past few years? That rhymed, by the way. That isn't an accident either. It's a calculated move by these executives who despise traditional players and the narrative depth that we all love. The very things that you want to see in games are being deliberately avoided because these companies think that they can force these new behaviors on all of us. Play the Concord-like. Here's another engagement-based Concord-like game. Why aren't you playing it? Where are you going? Why are you playing that game instead? All you do is shoot mutated monsters in a house with a gun. Don't you want to play Call of Duty instead? What do you mean you're replaying that game because you want more grade to unlock an infinite ammo mod for your gun? Don't do that. Look at this battle pass instead. Don't you want to buy it? Don't you want to grind the same maps over and over while children scream in their ear over the mic as you play? And skill-based matchmaking makes you sweat every single match while some guy is cheating, obviously, and hacking the game and shooting you through walls? No. Just no. Nobody wants it. Leave us alone. All we want is games that do everything that is opposite of anything those suits at the top of any of these companies want at this point. If it were up to them, Resident Evil 9 would have daily activities, and there would be a dedicated button to make Leon twerk and emote on zombie corpses just for XP bonuses alone. What we are witnessing at a very large level across the board of many games and studios and beliefs within the industry is the extinction of the single-player epic, replaced by a monetization trap that instead prioritizes profit over actual fun. And I am personally sick of it. I don't want it. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of grinding for things I'm never going to use anyways. Like, look, your pass went up a level, I guess, and you got a sticker that you can put on a wall now. Okay? What does that have to do with me having any emotional connection to what I'm witnessing or playing? It's a lie. It's just betrayal after betrayal. A complete and utter lack of understanding on the games industry's part to realize that what they're offering us as the players, you know, the people that keep this industry alive, is the exact opposite of what we as players want these days. So, just walk away. Play the good stuff instead. I can't wait for Resident Evil Requiem because it looks like a real game made by people who actually care about the medium that they're operating in. And that's why, in a sea of Concords, always try to be a Resident Evil. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to. See you guys next time.